cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so Muroff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Hay deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
it!
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it! They haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not a second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it! Big Barry!
And welcome along, everybody, for your radical sim racing European Sundays. And it's race day. It's race day here at round 3, Oulton Park Circuit. I am Mr. Dean Biggles. Joining me will be Mr. Adam Hedgecock. We'll be getting ready underway for some qualifying very, very soon. Welcome, everybody, for joining us. Mr. Hedge, of course, out there in the chat there, and Phil across the pond, and we are multiple streaming this on multiple chat platforms that you can enjoy the race. Well, we'll go quickly through the standings currently at the moment so we can see what has been happening in this championship over to the pros. Mr. Adam, how's that panning out at the moment?
Well, I wasn't here last week, so I didn't get to see Erin Baba get an amazing win at the Nordschleife, which meant that he now joint leads the Pro Championship with Luke Maxwell from Team Radline Yellow. Jack Ashton in third with Paul Crabb, McHutchinson, Halliburton, Bertie, Frank, Nagal and Bremer. They're your top 10. But it is very close on points still with it. Like you said, this is only round 3, so 2 lots in the bag so far mean that Busen, Larson, Ming and Ibram, although Ibram is a little bit further back, are not too far from that coveted top 10 spot.
Absolutely, that's definitely what's happening there over the pros. Quickly over to the AM series at the moment. Once again, that's pretty tight at the top of the timesheets there, top of the score sheets.
It is. It's been pretty intense battling between the AMs from what I can see. I know at Spa it was very nip and tuck for the entirety of the race, but as it stands, Kim Andre Bjorkland is leading the way by 2 points over George Gonzaga, with Bastian Lindlau in third on 50 points. Then we have Rolliston, Truby, Haug, Walters, De Graaf, Robertson and Christiansen rounding out your top 10. But once again, it is really tight just outside of that as well. We got Danielle Cascado, Miro Haraski, Damien G, Stefan Mellis, Chris Max Davies, Graham Brown, Sandro Capella and Craig Gregory. Got some work to do, it has to be said, on just 3 points down in 18th place.
Well, that's the beauty of it, is because we're only on round 3 at the moment, and there is your championship standings currently at the moment for the AM. We'll go to the pro first. Oh, let's skip that over there for the championships for the teams there.
There we go. Team Radline Yellow are leading the way. Quite a healthy lead already. 170 points. Really trying to maximise over the first 2 races. Mag Performance SRT, 131 points. So they've got some real work to do coming into this round. Team Radline Orange rounding out your top 3 on 105. And then we have SimRC Solo, SOB Racing, IGL Coatings iRacing. They are all in a little group for your top 7 spots with Effect Simulations. Again, needs to get a bit of a pedal on, I think. 9 points so far in this championship.
And finally, to wrap that up there for the championship standings, there is your 100 points there for Sim Racing Norway. And as you can see, the rest of the teams
always a good target, isn't it? Get the first 100 on the board and then play it by ear from there on out. But Tiger Team are on 84 points, chasing them down pretty hard. Radsport Sim Racing, 66 points. Insert name e-racing team. They are in 4th position. So having a good season so far as well.
And that will be the right on the marker where we'll switch over from that practice session, the final practice session that they have now, to get ready for some lone qualifying you'd mentioned as well too. So the lone qualifying is just a handful of laps there?
It is 4 laps they have within a 10-minute window. So it's very similar to the officials, which I think is 2 laps or 3 laps. It's been a long time since I've done an official, to be honest with you. But yes, a short amount of time, just enough to get 4 laps in. But it is solo, so on a track like this where draft can play a big role, they're going to have to go it alone and try and generate the lap time themselves.
Of course, they'll probably be running on a very light fuel load, which will make it a little bit different when you come into the situation of a race. Some of the drivers, in fact, most of the drivers are currently already jumped straight out of the gate and straight onto the track to get this over and done with as quickly as possible, no doubt. As you said, lone qualifying, so they won't see any of the cars on the track. We'll know that they're all around the track at the same time. They don't see each other. See what the sort of first competitive times will come in at the moment, and as they're on the outlaps to give an indication for themselves as well as everybody else on the field. What will be the benchmark to set? What will be the benchmark to chase?
Kane Halliburton, I'm just looking at the timing sheet right now. He's lighting it up on his outlap. He's pushing really hard. So far, out of the 7 sectors he has done, he has set purple in 5 of them. So he is pushing on, really generating the heat in the tyres, looking to get the best possible start he can as he enters his first flying lap.
Yeah, is there anything you want to take us? So we're going to ride on board at the moment?
Sure, you can do, yeah. Like I said, this is the arguably the quickest layout here at Oulton Park. Lots of flicks left and right. You see there just a flick left going into the Dunlop hairpin. Real big camber here. Just hook it up on the inside, try and throw it round. Pick up the apex as best you can. Run it out to the outside. No chicane here, so you're straight up over the hill, flat out, all the way along. Lots of time for drafting here in the race. It's going to be a real overtaking spot. If you have the bravery to send it up the inside with the flick right, barely any braking at all, possibly even just a lift in these cars with the aero, up over the top of the hill again. Little curve round to the left, and then you're slamming on the anchors a little bit for a double apex right-hander, just trying to carry the momentum. Kane has backed out. He's obviously not happy with that. Wow, that was looking pretty good. From what I could see, 2 purples in that lap. It just wasn't good enough for Kane.
Oh, well, he's going to back off and then get ready to plunge another one. No doubt. Let's have a look further down there. You have Rudolf Nagel. There's the first benchmark set as they all start coming in at the moment. Ashton goes up there. Maxwell, Nagel, Gonzaga, Rema. I will butcher these names, don't you worry about that. Apologies, as I always do. You
I've set the benchmark, it's fine.
You got your pros and your AMs, of course, represented by the different colours.
We have. Now, I am absolutely colourblind, so I'm going with orange for pros, yes, although it might be gold. And blue for AMs. That's what I'm going to go with. That's what I can see, anyway.
You are correct on that one, sir. McCutcheon goes up there, and look at that. But those times are absolutely crazy at the moment, considering it is a pretty short track relatively. But yeah, you look at that gap difference there. 0.06 thousandths of a second Maxwell is Luke Maxwell to Jack Ashton. So nice little battle.
And of course, we got McCutchinson. He's less than a tenth behind too. Bertie, not even 2 tenths behind. It's crazy, like how close they are. You're absolutely right. I read a stat on the back of a cornflake box once that said when you blink, that's about 2 tenths of a second. So, you know, within the blink of an eye, you've got your top 5.
Bang! There goes Kane. Right to the top of the timesheets there. Just separates that by almost a second, and then suddenly, like that, Luke brings it down to 3 tenths.
Stunning lap from Kane there, just looking at the timesheet. Purples across all of the sectors. Absolutely on it. He was lightning fast at Spa when I was last in the booth. And for what I could see, he's not easing up at all. Baba pops in half a second down. For the man who won at Nordschleife last time out, that's quite a way off for him.
There's Hutchinson. So switch over to the Scotsman. Slots himself up into P2. You can see now the pros and the AIMs really starting to separate themselves out. We've still got a few more drivers to yet set some times. Probably some invalidations. They backed off on their laps. We have Gary here for the Rad Sport Sim Racing team. Where's Gaza? Approaching down the back straight. Still about, give or take, about halfway through the circuit currently at the moment. Phil across the pond, of course. Welcome. We always love to have Phil across the pond here. He's looking forward to some great racing. We are as well too, Phil. And we're always looking forward to having you joining us. as well as everybody else in the chat. Don't be shy. We don't bite. Oh, I don't bite.
I try not to.
Yeah.
You just saying about how the pros and the AMs have split themselves out. I can tell you from having run a league many years ago and trying to sort out pros and AMs, the biggest worry is qualifying, because you want all the pros ahead of all the AMs. And when it works out like this, you are very, very happy. Baba now only 2/10 back, putting a little bit of pressure on Kane Halliburton. But Halliburton's still sending purples out there. He went purple in Sector 3 last time by. Baba purple Sector 6. I don't know how that relays on the track. I'm not sure where those points are as far as corners go, but nip and tuck. Either way, Kim-Andre Bjorklund looked like he was going fairly slow down the hill there.
Yeah,
but he's starting another lap regardless.
For sure. Like, had a little bit of a spinneroo. It's going to compromise that lap, have to go around and do another one. Just top of the timesheets is going to be the key of the battle here. Whether or not Luke's going to be able to perform here for the Team Redline Yellow. Can Kane put another great lap in to secure 119.6 if they have enough time left? Not quite sure they will have enough time left. Jake Ashton at the moment goes up to P4.
Quite instantly down to P6 as well. This is how tight it is. Halliburton is now in the pits. He is done. Baba is not going any quicker by the looks of it, so I think he's done too. Nagal is also back in the pits. This is it. We are done. We're getting the last one or two coming over the line. Baba totally proving me wrong and coming less than a tenth behind Halliburton.
Let's Baba get it done. Can John do anything about this? We know John's got some pace. The fire in the Scotsman and the Team Redline orange. So, where's a bit of blue and white in there? He's got it on his helmet, I believe so. And the side little winglets as well, too, as you can see.
There would have been a big conversation with the team painter, I'm sure, about how they can fit the Scots blue into the livery.
He's backed off and he's only done he's done a 120. That's pretty much it for him. What about Bertie? Bertie's finished up his lap there, George. Gonzinga. Couple more corners for him to go for the Portuguese driver. Can't miss him. Checkered flagish, but only with the red, the yellow and black flag. I'm not even sure the yellow and black flag actually exists, does it? Not sure.
There's the red and white version of that, which is the Croatia, or I'm not sure it's the official Croatia flag, but I know they do red and white checkers. But yellow and black, I'm not sure of. Either way, George pulls into the pits. He is done. James Barry currently sitting penultimately last. P13 so far, behind two of the AM drivers. He's not going to be happy with that. Not going to be happy at all. Trying to get one last hurrah in, see if he can get himself up the order. Can he do it? No, he can't. And what's crazy is he's only 1.2 seconds off Halliburton, and Halliburton we know is he's really, really, really quick. So to be that close still and yet be that far down the grid is that's pretty. Well, that's something.
This is the only driver left on track there. I think Barry's not doing another lap, so it's up to now Mr. Daniel Casgado to put a competitive lap time. He's one lap time in, but I'm pretty sure he's not happy being 3 seconds and change off the bubble here for the Italian.
No,
he's got
absolutely.
all the screen time, but doesn't he? I mean, that's the one good thing about being last to complete your qualifying lap.
This is where we find out he's listening to the broadcast and he's just leading us on for a lap and then he'll pull into the pits. What's he looking like on the timing page? I don't know. It's all frozen up.
It has to. Man. All I'm getting to speed currently at the moment, and that's it. No, that's the session over.
Out of time.
So, exactly, sir. That'll give us our grid results, qualifying results that will show up at the moment too for the grid. There we have it, my friend. Let's just go up to the top of it, of course, so that we can see. There it is.
Thank you very much. Well, Kane Halliburton takes pole position for the race here at Oulton Park today. Erin Baba and Ridolf Nagal round out your top three. Luke Maxwell, John McCutchinson, Jack Ashton, Tim Bertie, Kike Ming are your top 8. George Gonzaga is your pole position in the AMS, with Mike Busson and Keitel Larson just behind him in 10th and 11th. David Walters, James Barry, Aaron Bremer, Gordon Haug, Craig Gregory, Dave Rolliston, Memo de Graaf, and Damien Gee and Guy Robertson are your top 20. Gary Truby, Chris Max Davis, Kim Undra Bjorklund, we see his struggles earlier on today. Stefan Mellis are all the way down to P24. And last but not least, Daniel Cascado, the Lone Star driver. 3 seconds off the pace, but only 24 places to go until he gets into the lead. That's still a challenge.
And now the challenge will be making yourself safely around the track as much as you possibly can. We're going to get ready to go green flag racing. Welcome along to round 3. And here we go, straight off the line. Looking in further in the back there, looks like a fantastic little overtake. Bit of a squabble there between John and so forth. And there's a spin instantly from Kane. Let's go a little bit pearl-shaped. Go ahead.
Oh, no, so that was Halliburton. That is very uncharacteristic of him. I wonder if there was a little bit of contact somewhere, but it looked like it was all on his own. I'm not sure what happened, but it has meant that Baba has got the jump and is streaking away.
Absolutely fantastic launch, you'd have to say. You don't want the unfortunate of the other cars, because you want to be wheel-to-wheel racing them, but that is the situation at B.
Let's have a look a little bit further down the order, see if anyone else lost out. Kane's the big one. He's gone back to the pits now. He is done for this race, it seems. Baba's got a 1 second lead already over Nagal. Maxwell tucked up right behind him, less than half a second. McCutchinson not giving him any room either, and Bertie all within striking distance of each other. Gonzaga has maintained the lead for the AM category, currently in P8 overall, but Barry has gone with him, 2 tenths behind him, but they do have a gap back to Gregory, a good 3 places or so. So they've got a bit of breathing room to get on with their races and not have to worry about what's going on.
Here's the race start to have a look. See, I did it completely spun by himself. Paul Kane went on the outside there. 2, probably the fuel load, cold tyres, bang into the fence, and just like that, you have to see all those cars squabbling on by, and Kane actually ends up is plump last and has gone into visit pit lane.
I'm not sure what the braking bias is like in these cars, because it looked like that the rears locked and just snapped sideways on him. Very uncharacteristic of him. He looked absolutely solid last time I was here at Spa. So yeah, very surprising. But what it has meant is that Baba is he's extended that lead. He's got a bit of breathing room. He can just settle into his pace, his flow. And we can see, 1.2 seconds already, another 10th in just the time I've been talking. Maxwell, though, and McCutchinson, they are still there.
Position gainers and losers, you can see almost every single person has somehow made a gain. That's unfortunately because, once again, of Larson and Mr. Bremer, and of course Halliburton that you saw before.
Barry has issues. James Barry was off track.
Oof. You know what's happened to Bazza? This is what's happened to Bazza, unfortunately. Similar place.
Oh,
yes.
Just run wide. A little bit of understeer, and that grass out there. It's not as slippy as some places, but it will guide you out to that barrier. Hopefully not too much damage. Little bit of a bent diffuser there at the front, or splitter, I think it's called at the front, isn't it? So hopefully that's not too bad for him. Kane Halliburton is back out on track. Correct. He's gone back to the pits. He's taken his fast repair. I'm assuming, and back underway. So he's determined to try and get some points, but he is a lap down already. So it's going to be a tough half hour for
Jack. I had to just make sure, probably just avoiding a lock-up, and it looks like Booson's gone around somewhere. Mike Booson. Yes, you could see into the grass. That was because maybe James Barry as well too. Let's look if they came together or not. Let's have a look. Here's James. They're both off track excursions here. But Mike has had a little bit of a moment up the road. It might not have been it. Let's have a look. This is Mike. So I think Mike's done this on his own. Saw just underneath those trees. This rear end's going to slip out here, isn't it? There it is. Not too bad. No damage. Live to see another day.
Very easily done at that corner. There's a lot of camber on it, and you're tempted to just throw it in and run the camber. It's almost like a skate park. Just use the camber, run it round. But if you're going too hot, it becomes incredibly scary. A bit like the carousel at the Nordschleife. It will throw you out if you're going too quick.
I've thought about that way. That's very good. Great battles down here currently at the moment with Mike. The likes, but also further up we do have nice squabbles going on. These are the drivers that are a little bit out of place, as you can see currently at the moment. Some of them dropping some places, and it looks like Oulton has unfortunately binned it into the fence there for the Norwegian driver. I'll have to have a look at that one.
I feel like I've just subliminally cursed him, because I was just looking at the timing sheet. I was looking at the positions gained, and he was our biggest mover after having a disappointing qualifying. I was about to say he's putting it all to right again, and then we see him backwards, unfortunately.
Well, that's okay. I won't blame him. Well, you won't get the commentator's curse on that one, because we didn't get enough time. You didn't have enough time to switch over to the camera just to say that, my friend. So you're okay. Driver, you'll be in the good books of the driver on that one. Look at this, Mr. Tim Bertie putting pressure on the back there of John McHutchison. And if he doesn't do something soon, you got Jack Aston lurking in the background, as well as Kiki Ming, I think, for the Spanish driver. I've never heard of Ming as a Spanish name before, and they've come together. Are they going to keep it pointed? They're still going to keep it pointed. I like that, at least. So if you have a bit of contact, keep the wheels pointed in the straight direction and just hope the car still points that way, and it certainly has. So whether they're going to back off, they're going to continue another ding-ding round of that one. Like a boxing match, isn't it, in that car between those two drivers? Why not? Rubbing is racing.
They're both very lucky. They're absolutely both very lucky. Somehow they managed to survive it, didn't they? Just constantly hitting each other to set themselves straight again.
Love it.
Oh, what a livery that is.
You can't miss that livery there of Kiki Min. Yeah. As I was just about to say, I live in a Spanish-speaking country, of course, in the Latin America. I've never heard that name, but I love it. I love the name. This is like an overtaking opportunity further back at the moment here, at least side by side with Gary Turbely and David Rollison for the Tiger team. You know, the Tiger team livery, you can see it right there. He's also got this driver here, the Graf of the Dutch. Usually it's the orange colour, but of course he's riding in the Bronco Motor Esports yellow and black livery. There's the orange and black livery from the Tiger team up the road. So they're going for it too for now, but we're going to go further up to this battle that's presuming between Jack and Tim Bertie. We're going to see another round two of this one.
They are two very, very experienced drivers, two very good drivers as well, it has to be said. I know we cut to them before where they were trying to steal each other's bodywork, but they are very competent drivers. Ming having a look around the outside of Ashton. You've got to wake up early in the morning to catch Jack out with a move like that, but it looks like Ming has got it done. Brilliant move from Ming there. That was fabulous driving from him.
You got to be a little bit argy-bargy in this track. It's not easiest to overtake, and when you do, you've got to get your full elbows out there, stick your nose in. James would say get your nose in and get chopped off sometimes by a plastic surgeon, but it's the only way to race around these radicals. The SR10s.
I think not having the chicanes as well means where it's a lot fast flowing, there's fewer heavier braking zones, which makes it a lot harder as well, of course.
Meanwhile, this battle between P2 and P3, that's just all allowing, of course, Baba just to kind of cruise on up the road after we saw that race start, didn't he? Didn't have a problem there. Of Harlingburton. Harlingburton's out now. Actually has elected to go back into pit road, so Kane, fortunately, that wasn't that P2 place. Could have been battling right there with Barber, but has now retired. So now that's just gave him that 3 to almost 4 second gap, and it's whether or not allowing Mr. John here wants to try to do something about it to get as close as possible so that he's got 21 minutes and change or whatever to try to catch the Belgium driver. But the problem is got to get past an Austrian driver first, and that's not going to be an easy feat.
I think that's why we haven't seen them fighting too much so far, to be honest. Though I think with 20 minutes left, maybe Mick Hutchinson is thinking, you know what, we might have a chance of catching. We'll just monitor the times for now, but they've lost another couple of tenths this lap. We've just seen Gregory go off, way off in the background. He's parked up somewhere, presumably getting a hot dog or something. Nope, he's back in the pits now.
Yeah, let's have a look what happened here for Gregory. This is a corner that's been catching some of the drivers off, hasn't it? Goes back out, and that's just couple little blinking. That has to be scary for some of those drivers, doesn't it? And he's elected to go back in the pits, maybe having a little bit of connection issues and stuff like that. But hey, if you are driving along, all of a sudden you see this flashing green car in front of you, that is definitely a scary moment. Code Brown, team will be screaming at you, or he'll be screaming Code Brown to the team.
It reminded me very much. I used to drive touring cars way back in the day when the Jetta was the touring car. And I remember a race at Lime Rock, I think it was, where a car literally barrel rolled over the top of me after having an incident. And that was pretty scary, literally seeing the driver looking back at you upside down. Yeah, but as he's going over the top of your car, it's pretty scary stuff. And especially in these, I mean, you haven't even got a roof.
Yeah, it's like you get a little roll bar across to save you, but... So that was in real life, you were doing that?
No, this was iRacing.
I was going to say, because that's going to be very, very scary at that point. Because, obviously, like the virtual world, yeah, right, you might get your force feedback steering wheel flick you around a little bit, like break a finger or something like that, or sprain a finger or a thumb. That's about the most damage you can get. But in real life, of course, flipping upside down like that, it's going to hurt the old neck and back.
It certainly is. Now, track days are enough for me. Nagao, 4.5 seconds back now. I think Mick Hutchinson is going to have to get a little bit of a push on if he's got any hope of catching Baba. But this fight here between, we've got Boosson, Larson, Robertson in there as well. This is going to go the distance, I feel. They're all very similarly paced. They're all driving pretty well. I know Boosson had a little issue earlier on and lost a few places, but they're on the comeback drive, aren't they? And they've settled in, it seems.
Yeah, they are. Best thing you can do is recover. Sometimes there's benefits, I think, to having little moments at the start of a race because it gives you the rest of the race to do something about it. You just don't want to be doing it generally on the last lap because at that point you have no time left to actually get anything done. Let's have a good moment of Mr. George, of course, with that checkered flag design on the car. You can't miss him too much as well. Of course, I can't miss some of the other cars up the road there. You've even got what kind of reminds me, I think, there is it's the number 4 machine of Kiki, or is it Mr. Birdie? That's Kiki. No, it's Birdie. This machine here. Well, it's about to be challenged right now with Kiki Ming. But that's the old McLaren-esque kind of silver and red livery, isn't it? That kind of semi-sporting with that chrome livery this weekend for the Formula 1.
Oh, what a livery that was as well. Looked beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But I hadn't thought of it that way, but it is very much. Yeah, I guess. I can see where you're coming from with it. But Ming is looking to get on with it, isn't he? He's looking to try and get back up with Mick Hutchinson. Maybe sniff a podium here. Of course, all three of them behind Bertie at the moment will be thinking the same thing. But Bertie's no slouch. You've got to be a certain caliber of driver to be able to be in the Sim RC team. We know that. We've seen them across many disciplines on iRacing. All very, very accomplished drivers, so they've got their work cut out to try and get past him.
You got this band as well too, Jack. Yeah, he's in the mix. Sort of like riding shotgun right now. Hold on to your seat there. Hope you got your seatbelt strapped in because you're strapped in right next to as Jack. Not much room you're going to have here in the shotgun seat, but it certainly would be a thrill and an experience.
Get an appreciation of the speed of these cars. They look quite small and nimble, agile little cars overpower. They do get up a decent head of steam and they do fly around corners. They've got just enough downforce to kind of give you the confidence in the higher speed stuff. So they don't scrub off a lot of pace really. Ashton nice and tight there. Ming out a little bit wide. Ashton got enough here to get alongside and maybe throw it up to the left-hand kink. Mings thought better of it, backed out, giving Ashton the place. Never want to go too wide through there. You'll always end up in the barrier on the outside if you do. Very good driving there from Ashton to gain another place. On to Bertie now for him.
A little bit of replay as well, too. It looks like Guy. Is it Damien Guy here? So this is Larson. It's hard to see. Yeah, at least this is Larson passing Damien Guy. That's the overtake back there at the moment. Currently putting himself up in a P13. So, I know we're just going to highlight the accidents. Hopefully we're going to highlight more of those overtakes more than the accidents. And in fact, I think this has switched over there. So Mike's now got through as well. So Damien Guy, unfortunately, has dropped a couple of places in just a matter of half a lap. Larson's looking to put some pressure on Gaff. Graf. There they are. So look at Larson. That's the green and white machine. Oh, and that's just like that. That's going to allow one of the drivers, that's David, to the Tiger team, to have to allow 3 cars through. Just a tiny little mistake, if not 4, because Gary Robinson's coming up quick and tooth and nail behind him. But just keep an eye on this, because Larson's got some serious power. Found another gear right now in this radical SR10. Putting a lot of pressure on the Dutch driver.
Of course, it's a pro trying to overtake an AM at the moment. It shows
Yes.
the quality of the AMs as well, really. I mean, we look at Gonzaga in 7th, Waters, Haug, Truby, Graf. They're all up there. Larson's just managed to get past Graf. I think there was a little bit of an off-track that helped that. But these guys, they're certainly capable of mixing it. And speaking of mixing it, Jack Ashton having a look at Bertie, getting it done on the inside on the double apex right-hander. Bertie accommodating that one nicely. Didn't want to get involved in that too much. There's still just under half the race to go, so still a long time. As Baba, he's on it, isn't he? Just puts the fastest lap of the race in, a 19.6. That is significantly faster than anyone else. The only person in the 19th so far.
No stress whatsoever up front, can you? You could just crank it as much as you possibly can and not to worry too much. But unfortunately, Graf is the one that's come off an off-track excursion too. So, and here it is here. And there it is. Oh, that's going to come back. Oh no, luckily just slides forward like that. You see the front right locking up completely to avoid the car going back on track. Good work there to save that from...
Oh, nice little half spin too.
Absolutely perfect little half spin, wasn't it? Yeah, you can take some consolation prize out of that. The fact that you were off the racing line, you didn't destroy other people's races, your car's not damaged apart from flat spotting your tyres, which isn't going to be a problem too much in iRacing. However, you're good to continue to go racing. Still, Mr. Hutchison can't do too much about Miguel. He's been trying. Once again, Barbara's just having a little bit of a Max Verstappen moment, just being out in front there, wondering where everybody else is on track. I'm not going to spoiler alert anything, because that's just what Max Verstappen does anyway. Senior races this season. Not spoiling anything that happens with British GP or not. That's just in general reference to Max's driving this year.
I'm looking at the timing sheet and I'm trying to pick out any possible place that these guys can catch Baba, but he is absolutely on it. Of course, these guys also get drafted down the big long back straight because there's no chicanes on this layout. It's a very long straight, so they get a nice toe down there, but still no one into the 119s apart from Baba. That's outrageous.
Craig out there says we lost all sound. There might be some technical issues, but there should be some sound. I had a verification just before. I know that's a little pixelized and dropping some frames and things like that. The restreaming, we do have a little bit of some problems with that, but it should be good on the sound. Just like clarify that one.
Oh, that might be Craig was in this race and parked up, so that might be that he lost sound.
Oh, you lost sound, my friend. Well, you just got to simulate it in your head. Just like, you know, it's like muscle memory. You remember what the cars, because it'd be very difficult to try to focus on the track like this, and then looking at least on the steering wheel. Perhaps you can see fifth gear right now drops it down about a third, I'd say, gets on the loud pedal, drops the rev. That's the revs you need to hear, but isn't it? That's a crucial part of how much of those revs you're dropping, and when you have to feel that you're ready to go to hit your accelerator pedal.
Oh, absolutely. Although I do have to say that if I was to be doing that, I'd have to simulate crashing sounds more than rev sounds. But what a drive. We're on board with Gonzaga. What a drive he's having right now. Right behind Ming, Bertie and Ashton, the scraps for 4th place effectively. You know, as the lead am, he is right in it and driving wonderfully. Got a second and a little bit back to Walters behind him, and then a nice little gap back to Haig behind him. So nothing too stressful about challenges on him, but you know, he can focus forward, see what he can do, and I'm sure he would love a top 5 out of this, wouldn't he?
Well, I'll tell you what, looking at this driver, Tim Birdie would love to get an overtake done, but unfortunately a big off-track excursion like that is going to allow the other cars to go through. So all that work that Tim's been doing has now been scrubbed off just by one little mistake. Still in it, but now the chances possibly of getting that P4 potentially maybe, or that P3 pretty much done and dusted at this point now. Oh, never say never. Still 9 minutes of racing to go. But hard work, fortunately, yeah, scrubbed off. Larson now, there it is, finally getting through. Maybe both the cars will be getting through. Gary, yeah, Mike gets through there as well. But as you mentioned, that's pros versus AM, so yeah, Gary is just in a different class. Probably not wanting to put up too much of a fight with that. Although you still want to try to beat, don't you, the old pros every once in a while. Gives you a bit of bragging, right?
Well, I think it swings both ways, doesn't it? As an AM, which I generally am more of, you want to get in amongst the pros. You want to show, hey, you know what? I'm not just some guy that you lap every so often. You know, I'm actually here to race. And as a pro, you want to beat the AMs because you're supposed to be better than them. You know, there's a pride thing that goes on. And it's brilliant. And I love the fact that although in qualifying there was quite a distinct divide between them, when it comes to the racing, they're all happy to mix it with each other. We see, who's this now? Boosen having a look, wasn't it, behind Larson there. Sorry, yep. I almost said it was Truby there. Yeah, having a little weave around, filling his mirrors. We've got 8.5 minutes left to go. Trying to force a little mistake. And we've seen it, very easy to make here. It's quite a narrow track. If you get on the grass, it will suck you out. As McHutchinson makes use of all of that extra runoff. That is definitely an off track.
He's had a couple off tracks as well too. I've noticed. I'm just coming at race control saying off track here, off track there. So John's pushing like mad to find any possible way around the Austrian driver just up the road, but cannot find a way at this point. It's again just allowing Barber at the top there. Just have no problems. That's not Barber there, that car. That's actually come up to lap a car. That's a car that they're lapping, the Ellis actually.
Done the right thing as well. Got out of the way early. There's no point in trying to stick in front of them down a long straight like that. Just peel off to the side, let them pass, and then hook onto the back of them. You know, have some fun. Go for your personal fastest lap. You know, in the toe of the pro guys. Why not?
What's happened here? So a switcheroo between Rolson and Maxwell. Yeah, the Tiger team here. And Nick Maxwell.
Yeah, not sure where that was, but they have switched round. Baba, incidentally, did go quicker again. Last time by, set the fastest lap of the race again, but you'll all be delighted to hear that Rudolf Nagel and John McHutchinson have also managed 19s. So we now have 3 drivers in the 19s. So, it's not. It looks a little bit better. They are still on some kind of pace with Baba, who has been absolutely dominant, and let's take nothing away from that.
Now getting down to just 6 minutes and change of this race. So you do your math on that one. 1 minute 20 on average that they're lapping. So there you go. Get your 5 or 6 laps at best in. This is the time for some of those drivers to make opportunities that they might not do. Here is Kyle Ming, and see that straight line toe speed working brilliantly, but then you're going to have to lift off and take the corners. then up over the little hill there like a roller coaster ride. You'll feel the 0G almost, isn't it, as you're floating through the air as you make that little jump. A couple of them on this track, which must feel great in the car. And not so great if you're pointing in the steering in the wrong directions, of course, because as soon as those 4 points of contact do miss the tarmac, you're in big trouble.
I think we can see from the onboard here why this is a stalwart of British touring cars. There's a lot of shoulder rubbing and argy-bargy goes on here, and you can see why. It's fast, it's an aggressive track. You know, you can't be timid here, you have to attack it. Oh, as Ming gets a bit of a slide on there, loses a little bit of time, doesn't he? McCutcheon hasn't made any ground either, really, still 4/10 back. Gonzaga only 3/10 behind Ming, so he's in with a real shout here of getting that top 5. We speculated earlier, didn't we, that it was possible with issues for Bertie, and there's Mellis. There we go. There's Mellis just getting out the way again. But yeah, Gonzaga's got a real chance. Less than 2/10 behind Ming now. What does Ming do? Does he look forward or does he look back?
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Because lots of cars are all piled up. They're not piled up, or piling up together in a nice way. I guess it could be a bad pile up, isn't there? You hear the word pile up, you're always thinking of a massive accident. It's not. They've been pretty much separated by nothing, haven't they, these drivers? Just that one little mistake that Bertie made before, remember, and cost him to drop back behind this pack. That he was leading at one point.
Yeah, easily done though. I think we saw how much the slipstream effect is on these cars when we were on the onboard just a moment ago. So easy to catch you out at the end of that long straight. I think that's what happened to Bertie. Just carried that little bit too much speed, but you could see the experience straight away. He knew how to deal with that. Didn't put it in the barrier, just glided through the grass, got himself back on, and now he's back on the coattails of the whole group in front of him again. Gonzaga literally a stone throw away, and of course he can still see Ming and Ashton. So striking distance definitely, but only 3 minutes 45 to go.
You can see Jorge Gadzinga's insert name, iRacing name here. And at the moment, Bertie's like, let me insert my car in front of yours and not into the rear wing, and bingo, gets the job done.
Sensible play there. He's leading the AM category by a couple of seconds. No need to get involved with the pros, although it would have been nice to get a top 5 overall. I think just consolidating and bring the car home safe at this point.
Who's keeping with the pace, and here it is. So John has waited probably to the last couple of laps to get the job done, and he has got the job done. What an overtake. We'll go back and get a replay of that one. Now he's going to have to be the man that's chased rather than the man that's chasing. I'd have to say that's just a bit of patience, isn't it? A bit of patience has paid off for a very, very long time, and how has that patience paid off? Let's have a look. Poor exit, unfortunately, there, isn't it, from Nagal. Just like that, especially the way John was hanging on his bumper the whole time. Well, seize that opportunity any day of the week.
I think that's an accumulation of 27, 28 minutes of pressure, pretty intense pressure. And it's a really tricky corner. That last corner, you can spin up the rear tyres very easily. There's a lot of cambers going on there. So yeah, I think it's just the pressure got to him a little bit there, made the mistake, and McCutcheon wasn't going to be asked, or need to be asked twice. He was straight on it, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's what the good racing drivers, if Gap Car sees the opportunity, you know, you might not get another one, of course, and they won't get another one at these dying stages of the race. These three at the moment are going to go tooth for nail, I'm sure of it. If I was the like of Jose in the background who just let them through, I would just sit there and wait for potentially maybe a couple of cars to come together, if they come together, and then seize the opportunity to take a 2 to 3 to 1 special. But here we go. More wheel-to-wheel racing. In fact, we could even see 3 abreast going into this couple of corners. I don't know if they're going to be close enough. It's going to be who's going to have the advantage of this one, Jack, Tim, or Mr. Ming. That's here.
I'll be brutally honest, they are 3 quality drivers. I wouldn't want to pick between any of them at any point because they're all really, really good. But you're absolutely right. Gonzaga is sitting there in the popcorn seat, isn't he? just waiting for these guys to have a little scrap. We've got a minute left on the clock, so they're going to have a battle at some point if they want to gain a position, which might mean that Gonzaga comes back into play again.
Now, has Tim got a feel? Because he's got to look at his mirrors and he has to look ahead and behind. And now he's saying he's not going to fully send, but close enough to thinking about a fully send. As our race leader will be crossing the line now to start the final lap. As you can see on the track map at the moment, the one goes across the line. That will be Barney will be waving that white flag now. So this is it. If you want to get an overtaking opportunity done for all the drivers out on track, this is your time to shine. Otherwise, settle in for the positions that you'll have. At the moment, most drivers have all gained positions. Only, unfortunately, from Oulton there and Maxwell, but we all know that they went a little bit pearl-shaped at the start of the race. You have those races, don't you, my friend? You have those every once in a while in your whole season. You'd be lucky to get a whole flawless season unless you qualify first in every race and just run away with it. That's the only way you could probably guarantee yourself a nice win.
I have those kind of races nearly every race. I'm always battling something that I've done wrong. But I was going to say, we saw how much the just a little bit of defending can draw the cars behind in when Bertie and Ashton went side by side at that right kink. It really brought Ming and Gonzaga right back into it. Like there were a couple of tenths in it. And I think we're going to see the same again. This is it. This will be for the final positions. You won't be able to get a place back after this, you wouldn't have thought.
Oh,
Bertie round the outside, surely not. Ashton leans on him, gives him a car's whip and a cigarette paper, and Bertie takes it and he's now up front, but Baba out ahead. Brings it home, 9 seconds the gap. Beautiful drive from Baba, but we are going to skip straight back because Ashton is fighting tooth and nail. Bertie buzzing around like an enraged hornet behind him. Ming getting up in close personal. Is he going to get the run on Bertie here? He is. Bertie trying to attack Ashton, compromise himself on the exit, and Ming claims the place, the top 5 spot. Bertie 7th, Gonzaga takes the AM win in 7th place.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant racing to the end here. But we're sorry about that one, Mr. Barber. That's what you get for the Belgium driver, because it's just a flawless race, isn't it? Almost won by 10 seconds at the moment too. So John McCutcheons will get that P2 and ahead of there of Miguel at P3. But there he is. We'll give him a little bit of screen time, don't we? Because that's what you get when you lead the race so far up the road. But he did it perfectly off the row start. Got the launch that you needed to get it done. And because the P2 had a moment, it didn't have any threat from there on, and it was just him and Barney. Checkered flag at the end of the race. So once again, also driven flawlessly, because I didn't get any race control messages that popped up on my screen that said anything about him having an off-track excursion or a spin or anything like that sort of stuff. So perfect.
Yeah, very well driven indeed. We knew that he was a bit of a talent when he done the first challenge at Spa. And although he didn't win, he was right up there towards the end. His final position escapes me, but he was right in the battle at the end. So we know he's quick, but yeah, like you say today, when you drive that well, and there's battles going on around you, generally you don't get seen, and that's a good thing. That just shows how well you're driving. Let's be honest.
And George at the moment here as well too. He'll take the AM win. It's a weird way of selecting it, and it's actually coming up with yellow on there. Although, if you do select away, it goes green. It goes blue. So he is definitely in the AM class. Anyway, those race results will come up on the screen there for you now. Second, we'll show you. Free to go over. There they are.
Here we go then. So as we saw, Erin Baba, 9.5 seconds your winner over John McCutcheon and Rudolf Nagel, rounding out your podium. Jack Ashton, Kaiki Ming, Tim Bertie, and let's include George Gonzaga in that battle. Gonzaga taking the AM win. David Walters and Gordon Haug rounding out your AM podium. Then you have Kittel Larson, Mike Busson, Luke Maxwell are your top dozen. Gary Truby, James Barry, David Rolliston, Menno de Graaf, Guy Robertson, and Kim Andre Bjorkland round out your top 18. Bjorkland, incidentally, won last time out in the AMS at the Nordschleife. So it's a bit of a tough day for him today. 19th, we have Iron Bremer. 20th is Damien Gee. 21st, Chris Davis. And then we have Daniel Cascado, Stefan Mellis, Craig Gregory, who dropped out early on through sound issues, and our pole sitter, Kane Halliburton, who dropped out 2 laps into the race after a lock-up at the first corner, which is a real shame because I think that could have been a right old battle with Baba there.
Yeah, it was. Was it a pole sitter? I thought it was P2.
I thought he was on.
Yeah. Either way, it was front
no.
row. It was front row.
No.
It's okay. It's it. Yeah, I think it was. We do have a couple of drivers here for some quick interviews. If you want to get them in.
We do, yeah. Let's get them in. Let's get your P2 man in. Oh, although I am unable to open the door for him.
See if I can get the door open there for him. So our P2 currently is John. Let's get John here. Welcome, John.
Hi, guys.
Sterling race out there, John. It has to be said, a proper battle with Nagel. 27 minutes sitting behind and just waiting for your moment.
Oh, that was brilliant. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, I was just saying to Rudolph here, I threw everything at him other than hit him off the track. You know, I was giving it everything, trying to fill his mirrors, late braking, almost hitting him. And then just that one little mistake he made. It's enough to get past.
We saw how crazy the draft was down that long back straight. Put us in the cockpit with you. How crazy is it that right hand kink when you get to the end of the straight? You're not really braking too much. How do you approach that? Because it looks absolutely beastly.
You talking about the left hand kink just before the hairpin?
No, the long back straight.
Oh, right. Sorry.
And then you've got the right kink as you go up the hill.
Yeah, the draft's enough to catch but not pass. You know, unless you're stupid and throw it up the inside, or unless you get a good enough exit out the hairpin, and you might pass, but it's not too powerful. It's not overly powerful. And Knickerbrook, you just throw it in, hope for the best. don't
Close your
hit,
eyes and pray.
Don't hit the curb on the inside. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
So
P2 tonight. Sorry,
yeah,
go on.
Saying you have to get really close to the curb to get the power on really early. So it's take the risk.
P2 tonight. That's solid performance from you. We've seen you so far this season. You've been there or thereabouts, right up in the battles up front. What's your aspirations for the rest of the season? Because it's looking good so far.
Oh, the quality of drivers in here with Errand and Kane, I'm never going to win unless something happens to them. Could maybe hold on to the back of them at some point, but you know they're just far too quick for me. So if I can get second, third in the championship, I'll be delighted. You know, and yeah, good enough for me.
Well, on tonight's performance, that is absolutely possible. It's been brilliant watching the battle, John. Pleasure speaking to you. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
A shout out to Luke, who just caught the curb there and coming out of Druids and put him into the wall. So bad luck, Luke.
No problem. We'll see you in a week's time.
Thanks, Adam. Cheers, pal.
Cheers, John.
Bye bye.
Yep, there we go. So our second place man. We'll go down to our third place man. This is Nagel. So Rudolph.
Hi guys.
Nagel. Yep. So how are you going? You're almost at P2 all the way, mate. But one little mistake, wasn't it? Just cost you that P2. What happened?
Yeah, my rears. I think it was a bit hot in the rear, and the last 3 laps I cannot push anymore. And John make a good job. He follow me and don't fight, so we can make a gap. That was very great. So and then in the end he was better.
It was certainly looked like he was under a lot of pressure. He was, I think I called it, he was buzzing around like an angry hornet at one point, just buzzing around the back of you. How do you deal with that pressure? Because, obviously you're a quality driver being with SimRC, but you know the quality of the driver behind you too.
Yeah, but I see that he don't attack me, so it was not pressure. I look only to make the gap to keep the lap time slow. And so I think he saw that and won't fight in the last 3 laps. And was good for him, was good for me.
See, that's the difference between a Sim RC driver and someone like me. I would be frantic for that entire race, looking in my mirrors.
So and when he fight in the first 2-3 laps, we fight from P2 to P8. On this track, you don't have to fight in the first laps. You must see you make a gap. You can fight in the last 3 laps.
Gotcha. And what a fight it was. I asked John this question. I'm going to ask you as well. Obviously, you're one of the quick guys here. You're in the battles. What's your aspirations for the season? Because you look like you're going to have a decent run.
Ooh, for I think there are 2-3 guys. They are unbeatable in lap times. So I hope on top 5, maybe.
Oh, on tonight's performance, it certainly looks like that's going to be possible. Brilliant drive. It was fantastic to watch, and just a shame you got pipped right at the end there. Before we let you go, do you want to give a shout out to anybody?
Yeah, to the whole team. And Jürgen, he can't make the race today, so I hope he watch it now. And yes.
Marvellous. Well, brilliant racing tonight. We thoroughly enjoyed watching your battle with John, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, I think so. See you.
Excellent.
Cheers, Rudolph.
Bye.
And that was Rudolph, who finished in the P3 position and lost the podiums. One more person waiting for an interview at the moment will be our P4 man, Mr. Jack Aston. That's had a fantastic battle, my friend, didn't you, with the likes of Kyle Ming there, Tim Birdie, and even George Gonzinga towards the end there. So how was your race?
I loved it. It's probably the best race I've had, to be fair, for a long time. So yeah, it was really, really good. I had a little bit of an incident with Tim. I'm not sure you caught it on the broadcast. Pretty hairy moment into Ireland, one of the fastest corners or areas of the track. But we managed to sort of get through it. Can't really say whose fault it was, bit of 50-50, I'd say. But it was an eventful moment. But we managed to come unscathed. And then still come fighting back, and we had an almighty battle till the end. So yeah, it was great fun, and to come out on top out of that group was, I'm really happy with that. And the last lap battle was proper intense with us, so to come on top of that again as well was really good fun.
We did see that incident, funnily enough, and we were saying that that you were both kind of hitting each other to get yourselves back online. Like somehow between the two of you didn't spin each other. You just kind of helped each other turn back straight again.
Yeah, I don't think it was intentional. Like most of the time I was tangled up with a wheel opposite locks, and then I ended up sort of going into the side of him, which straightened him up and straightened me up. It was a bit of a weird moment, but it kind of worked. So I'm glad nothing came of it in the end, because it's not nice when something like that happens. We're both trying. It's racing in general. Yes, it's probably a little bit aggressive on my behalf going for a move there, but then I'd say maybe the door's a bit tight for me to get in. So yeah, like I say, it's 50-50. I can blame myself, I can blame him. So I don't know, but I'm glad no crash in the end. Let's say.
I think it's fair to say Oulton Park is a track where you have to lean on your opponents a little bit, don't you, to manufacture some moves. So it's not surprising there was contact at one point. But I do want to ask you, in the heat of all the battle, how hard is it to concentrate on what's in front of you when you have Kiki Ming's livery behind you?
Yeah, it was pretty vibrant, I'll give you that. The one thing that's actually more funny, you probably have a laugh at, is that that wasn't the thing that distracted me the most. I had a bloody fly on my screen that I kept trying to bat out the way while driving. That was certainly the most distracting part of my race. But yeah, I did like his livery, I'll give you that.
How does that fly manage to stay on your car at those speeds that you're doing? That's amazing.
Oh, I don't know, but yeah, he was terribly annoying me, put it that way.
We've seen you solidly top 5. I remember driving against you way back when, like 2016 or so, back in touring car kind of leagues. So I know the quality that you have. where do you see yourself come the end of the season?
You know, I was just literally just chatting with John. I think with the likes of Erind and the likes of Kane, their level of ability against the rest is just that one extra step. Them two, I mean, I don't think Kane's had the best of the season so far. Just obviously that start he had and today, and he didn't make last week. So championship wise, not very good, but pace wise, Kane and Aaron have got it in the bag really. Against the rest of us, me, John, Tim, all the guys there that did really good. Rudolph, you really wouldn't be able to put any money on who's going to come out on top. It just depends who gets that little bit of a better qualifying. Whoever gets that little bit better start, which I'm terrible at, if you might not have noticed. And yeah, whoever can get that at the start and get away, or